Hello everybody, happy Saturday. Hope everybody is doing well and hope everybody's tanks are doing well. I've received quite a few questions about my leopard wrasse video that I did on the care of leopard wrasses. So I am going to answer some questions that people seem to have about leopards. I've been keeping them for several years. The ones I have in this tank, this one here, this little guy, he is the newest. Maybe, I don't know, I've had him for about 8-9 months. The rest of them I've had a lot longer than that. So I'm just gonna do some basics and reiterate. When you go, I always recommend getting leopard wrasses from a local fish store and not online, if possible. I know some people, unfortunately, don't live near a local fish store or whatnot, but if you can, get them from a local fish store, have them order them in for you, and keep them. Have the local fish store put a deposit down or pay for them, or however you can work it out with your fish store, and have them keep the fish for at least a week or two. And I recommend going and making sure the fish is eating what you intend to feed. So if you are feed mysis shrimp like myself, have the local fish store. Don't take any excuse like, oh, I fed them this morning or anything like that. Don't take that as an excuse. Watch them eat. Make sure they go after the food, and, basically attack the food. Don't, keep an eye, make sure they're not just taking it in, spitting it out, that kind of thing. Because the hardest thing for leopard wrasses is getting them to eat in an aquarium setting. And like me, I have other fish that eat a lot. So, if I can't, anytime I've made mistakes myself in the past buying a fish that I didn't watch eat, and it didn't eat when it got here. And there's just, when you have a lot of fish in a tank, it's very hard to get the fish to eat. So I really emphasize that for sure. They just make sure they're eating good at the fish store, and they're really not that the difficult part of the leopard wrasse is getting them acclimated to your tank. Once they're acclimated to your tank, no problem. I haven't had an issue with them. And getting them to eat is one big hurdle that once you get them to eat good and they start eating, they seem like they really do a lot better. And like this guy here, we just went around the rock, my Milligris leopard wrasse, I've had him for probably 3 or 4 years now. He was little. He was not even a ½ inch. He was like a newly hatched specimen when I got him. And I was kind of leery, but the fish store was like, $20, take him home, because he was so little. I mean, it was like just tiny little thing. And so I'm kind of proud of him. He's grown nice and big. And I mean, he was just tiny and just eating like a pig at the fish store. So that was very important. So the big key to leopards is getting them to eat. And again, I can't stress enough, make sure that they're eating at the fish store before you plunk down your money or pay them off or whatever, and take them home. Because that is a big thing. Because, as I talked about in the last video, I tell everybody, don't have a bare bottom tank. Make sure you have at least a couple inches of sand in the tank, because they do sleep in the sand. So it's not unusual for you to acclimate the fish, and I always do a drip method on all my fish, and then put them in, and then the fish doesn't come out of the sand for several days, which is normal. So they're going without food for that several days. So it's very important to have plenty of food on hand for the fish. All right, so that is basically it, and I'll show you what kind of foods I do feed them here. One moment. And now these are the 2 types of food that I feed all my fish. This is Hikari mysis shrimp. This is LRS Reef Frenzy. And my leopard wrasses absolutely love it. So very important. They also eat seaweed. So I go ahead and everything. My tang angelfish eat the seaweed, but so do the wrasses. So Very important to get them eating and make sure you have a sand bed. But the eating is, because I've been told, if I go into a fish store, like I try out a new fish store, something like that, I usually go to my standard ones. But if I try a new one out and I say, can you feed that fish for me? And they tell me, well, I fed them earlier, blah, blah, I just leave. Secondly, I've had this happen too, where they will go and put some, fish eggs in or something like that. That doesn't work for me. I don't feed my tank fish eggs very often. So, if you're not going to feed mice, because fish eggs are like candy to fish. So, if you're not going to feed them what I'm feeding them, no, I just turn around and leave. I won't buy the fish from them, and they'll lose my business. So that is about it for the video today. Anybody have any questions? If you like my video, please like it or share it with other people. Subscribe to my channel. I would definitely appreciate it. I definitely wanted to say a big thank you to all my subscribers. And I definitely appreciate all of you, everybody. We're all in it together. Happy reefing.